Hi, Rocketeers. Here's Miss E, and I'm back again with the part two of Cinderella. When we last left off, Cinderella was gathering all the materials that her fairy godmother told her to get. There were some weird things. She wanted her to get lizards and mice and pumpkins, and who knows what she's going to do with those things. I'm super excited to find out today. Today, while we're reading, I want you to still pay attention to Cinderella's feelings. We want to think about the different ways that her feelings change throughout the story and how she acts based on those feelings. Also, I want you to be my I spies once again today. And today we're looking for two words. We're looking for the word her from list 7, and we're looking for the word no from list 8. With a touch of her wand, the fairy godmother changed the pumpkin into a magnificent gold coach, the mice into 6 white horses, the rat into a jolly coachman, and the lizards into 2 sleek footmen. Lovely, the fairy godmother exclaimed. Off you go. Am I to go in rags? Said Cinderella. Silly me, said the fairy godmother, and she transformed Cinderella's filthy rags into an elegant gown and on her feet placed a pair of sparkling glass slippers. Now you are ready, said the fairy godmother. But remember this, you must return home before the stroke of midnight, for then all your finery will change back into what it was. Cinderella promised to obey, and then she was off to the ball. How do you think Cinderella is feeling now? Look at her face. Why do you think she would feel that way? What are some things from the text that we read that would support that thought? At the palace, the prince learned that an enchanting maiden had arrived, and he greeted her himself. The other guests were puzzled. Who was this beautiful stranger? Completely smitten, that means he was really, really in love. The prince had eyes only for Cinderella. They danced every dance. Cinderella found herself deeply in love. She was so happy that she took no notice of the hour. Suddenly, the clock began to strike 12. Remembering the warning, Cinderella ran from the prince's arms of the ballroom and down the steps of the palace. In her haste, she lost one of the glass slippers. Wait, wait, cried the prince. I don't know your name. Cinderella's golden coach sped away from the palace. But at the stroke of 12, the fairy godmother's warning came true. The coach was changed back into a pumpkin, the horses back into mice, the coachman back into a rat, and the footman back into lizards. Cinderella was once again dressed in rags. Look at Cinderella's face now. How do you think she feels here? How is that different from when the fairy godmother had changed all of their things into enchanting new things? Discovering the tiny glass slipper, the prince vowed to find and marry the beautiful stranger. He traveled the kingdom far and wide, trying the slipper on every maiden's foot, but it fit no one. Finally, he arrived at Cinderella's house. Me first, cried the eldest stepsister, extending her long, skinny foot. But she could manage to get only her toes into the slipper. My turn, cried the youngest stepsister, thrusting her pudgy foot at the prince. She pushed and shoved, grunted and groaned, but the slipper would not fit. May I try it on? Said Cinderella, stepping out of the shadows. The glass slipper fit perfectly on Cinderella's tiny foot. "I have found my princess," cried the prince. "We shall wed tomorrow." On that festive day, the kingdom rejoiced. Generous and forgiving, Cinderella moved her family into the palace and found a lord of the court for each of her stepsisters to marry. Cinderella's fairy godmother moved in too, just to make sure everyone lived happily ever after. How do you think Cinderella's feeling now? Now that we're finished the story, Cinderella had many feelings in this story. Her stepsisters treated her really mean, and her stepmother did as well. But Cinderella remained persistent. What are some of the things that she did to remain persistent and to stay in good spirits, even though her stepsisters and stepmother were being really mean to her? Draw a picture and write your sentences below. All right, Rocketeers, see you tomorrow for our next story. Bye bye.